Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome back to the channel. I'm Andrew Wolfe, and today we're going to be talking about, of course, Boulder, Colorado, but also Colorado Springs, Colorado, and kind of comparing these cities and trying to figure out which is the best fit for you. So why do these cities get compared so often? There's a good distance between them. Boulder is definitely northern Colorado, and Colorado Springs is certainly southern Colorado, but they both offer mountain views, outdoor-focused lifestyles, and a break from kind of the big city that is Denver, Colorado. So that's often why people and families compare these when they're considering a move. So let's talk about some of the differences and what makes them a good fit for you. All right, guys, so let's talk about Boulder first. So Boulder's definitely gonna have a smaller town feel. It's gonna be a little bit more progressive, a little more health and wellness focused. So if that sounds like you, it's probably a better fit. Now, the Springs, on the other hand, is going to have a more suburban feel, right? So it's a pretty large city, the second largest in Colorado, but it doesn't have that, large urban feel that Denver does, so it has a little more of a suburban vibe. That's also going to lean a little more conservative, and it's going to have a lot of influence from the military there because there's Air Force Academy as well as the large Army base down there as well at Fort Carson. Now, both shine almost in equal measure is going to be access to nature and outdoor lifestyle. Boulder is going to have the Flatiron, Chautauqua State Park, and just, a 30-40 minute drive to Eldora. The Springs is going to have Pikes Peak, Garden of the Gods, and great access to skiing as well. So if you're an outdoor-focused person, you really can't go wrong. It's really going to be whichever feels better for you when you're exploring the cities themselves. As far as weather concerned, it's Colorado, so they're both going to be very nice. They're both going to have a lot of sunshine. I would say Boulder enjoys probably a slightly milder climate, a little bit warmer in the winter, a little bit cooler in the summer. It's going to have maybe slightly more sunshine. The Springs is definitely going to be a little bit more dynamic. You're going to have a little bit hotter summers, a little bit cooler winters, and you're also going to see a little bit more wind since it's going to be a little further from the plains, not have the Flatirons backed up directly to it like Boulder does. So can't really go wrong either way. We're probably splitting hairs here, but it's going to be a little bit milder in Boulder if that is very, very important to you. All right, now the cost of living is going to be a really significant divider. Obviously, the cost of living in Boulder is significantly higher, with home values averaging about $1.1 million or so for a single family home. You can get a really high quality home in Colorado Springs for half that. Generally speaking, there's going to be more availability, more properties in the market in Colorado Springs relative to Boulder, so you're going to have more options. That tends to put a lower ceiling on price points. You're also going to have, generally speaking, larger homes for the dollar down in the Springs as well. Home styles are going to be variable, Boulder tends to be a lot of turn-of-the-century, mid-century homes. You're going to see some of that in Colorado Springs, but there's also going to be some newer builds and some older builds as well, so probably a little more variety. But if cost of living is particularly important to you, the Springs probably has an edge there just because you can definitely get more home for your dollar. As far as like jobs and economic opportunities, both Boulder and Colorado Springs are going to shine here as well. Boulder's going to be a little more focused on tech jobs, a lot of startup opportunities, a lot of opportunities in healthcare, and obviously a lot of remote workers choose to make Boulder their home. Obviously, if you work remotely, you could choose to make the Springs your home as well, but a lot of people transition to Boulder for the lifestyle and can work remotely, so it works out really well for them. The Springs itself is going to have a lot of opportunities in the military space. Whether you are actually an active member of the military or you are a contractor or a civilian that works for the military, tons of opportunities there between the Air Force Academy and Fort Carson. Also a lot of opportunities in healthcare. Aerospace is making a big push there in the Springs, as well as tourism. And of course, like we talked about, if you're a remote worker, you might choose to make the Springs your home for lifestyle reasons as well. All right, so as far as like traffic and transportation, both cities have their bonuses and challenges, right? So getting around Boulder itself is pretty easy. It's a very small city, so you can take the bus system, you can hike, you can bike, you can get around. If you are traveling, your car is not going to put as many miles on it if you live and work in Boulder, or if you work remotely. However, if you are a Boulder resident that's commuting into Denver or have to travel to the airport quite a bit, you're going to put a lot more miles in your car. You're going to spend a lot more time in your car. So that's definitely a trade-off. So if you're fortunate enough to live and work in Boulder, there's an obvious advantage there, but if you end up working in Denver or if you're a worker that's commuting, there's definitely going to be more challenges. Cost of gas and things like that is going to be higher up there in Boulder County as well, relative down to Colorado Springs, so it's definitely a trade-off. Now, the Springs itself is going to have a much bigger footprint as a city, but a much larger percentage of people are going to live and work in Colorado Springs itself. The metro system can get you around just because of the footprint. It's probably easier to get in your car and drive, and so you're going to have that challenge of putting some miles on your car, but you're generally speaking not sitting in really, really heavy traffic. A little bit easier to commute around the city even if it is larger, so there's definitely a trade-off there. A little more predictable travel, more understanding trying to get a home close to your job, but you're probably not as regularly leaving Colorado Springs to go to work if you choose to make Colorado Springs your home. All right, guys, so who thrives in Boulder? Well, it's going to be guys who work in the tech industry, healthcare, if you enjoy startup work, if you don't mind the commute in Denver, and really what comes down to it is if you want to make the lifestyle choice to live in Boulder. It's got a very unique, eclectic vibe that you really can't repeat anywhere else, Colorado Springs included. So if that lifestyle is important to you, Boulder's going to sing. Now, who thrives in the Springs? Well, people who value maybe affordability and size of home a little bit over the Boulder lifestyle. You can still get a lot of the great outdoor opportunities there in the Colorado Springs, though it's a larger city, so you may not have the same community connection immediately. You can obviously forge friendships and relationships in Colorado Springs as well. Also, if you are a military member or work for the military, it's quite a bit easier to get a job down there or to try to get stationed down there. So there's a lot of opportunities that Colorado Springs have that Boulder just really can't replicate either. So which is the best for you? Well, it's obviously going to be a lifestyle choice, right? But all things being equal, if you want the outdoor Boulder lifestyle, that small town community feel, Boulder's probably a better fit. If you're okay with a suburban lifestyle and you want a little more bang for your buck, a little bit less expensive lifestyle costs as well as less expensive housing and larger housing for the dollar, Colorado Springs is probably your best fit. But regardless, guys, I hope this information was helpful to you. I love making these videos for you, but I love connecting more over the phone and voice to voice and text and all that good stuff. So go ahead and give me a call, text, email, whatever you wish. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. I really love hearing from you guys. Looking forward to hearing from you next time. Have a great day.